Alright, so hey everybody, Blood Moon Bobby here. So, have a bit of a different setup today. In fact, can I, hold on, let me see if I can adjust, my audio levels. Okay, so hey everybody, Blood Moon Bobby here. Have a bit of a different setup today because I'm going to be playing the NES classic Duck Hunt. So, I know some might be wondering how am I playing this game? Well, you could probably guess from the home screen because when Duck Hunt was first released for the NES, the console, I believe, came, or at least like some versions of the console came with the NES Zapper, which was this kind of gun controller you could use with your TV. But since most modern TVs don't work with the Zapper, how am I playing this game? As you could probably guess from the home screen you're seeing, I'm playing this through the Wii U because back during the Wii U days, Nintendo released this game on their eShop, and I was really excited to give this a try, knowing it was one of the NES's launch titles. In fact, I do have the cartridge, like the combo cart, that has both Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, if you can see it here. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. As somebody that really enjoys learning about video game history and Nintendo's history, I'm really glad that Nintendo released it for the Wii U. I think theoretically they could release it for Switch one of these days through Nintendo Switch Online, maybe through on a future Nintendo console that I hope is coming. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get started. If you've gotten the chance to play this yourself, especially if you did get to play it like on a TV with the NES app, or let me know. So yeah, let's begin. So yeah, you could see for this version, they've got this crosshair on the screen. Admittedly, my setup isn't exactly ideal, but I'm going to try to make this work. I feel like I have to kind of point the controller like down to make this work. I mean, like, yeah, usually Wii games I could play them like just fine. It's just that with my current setup, you know, being in the corner of my room, I don't exactly have like all the space to make it ideal. So I'm working with what I have today. Yeah, I still remember the Angry Video Game Nerd showed this game off in his NES accessories video. Really great episode, by the way. And really, AVGN, I wonder if that's how a lot of YouTubers that talk about video games, they get their start. Perfect, cool. Oh, by the way, and no, you can't shoot the the dog. If you try, like when he's jumping into the grass, you just get like a rumble on your Wiimote. This is the kind of game where it's kind of fun to see, like, the scene where, if you screw up, you know, like, if the dog comes, like, laughing at you. There we go. And no, you try shooting the dog when he's laughing at you again, you just get a rumble in the controller. Wonder, yeah, I don't know if my sister has played this. I think she should. Yeah, I wonder if Duck Hunt in a lot of ways is one of the more approachable NES games. Not that all NES games are really hard, it's just that even though you had instruction manuals, back then I get the sense that in NES games they don't walk you through the game nearly as much. You know, like in today's games they often give you tutorials and show you what to do. But in these kind of games, unless you had the instruction manual, you had to like figure things out for yourself. Whereas this game, it's, really easy to understand, okay, basically just shoot the duck. Nice. So yeah, as the levels go on, the ducks get faster, and you gotta be, like, pretty precise to, like, shoot them down. Round 5. Still surprised how far I'm getting. And yeah, I wasn't really precise on that one. There we go. But yeah, the nice thing about this is that, or at least if Nintendo does re-release this game for the Switch, I think with the Switch's gyroscopic sensors, you wouldn't need a sensor bar. It would basically just detect, where, you're waving the controller. But yeah, I hope they don't do a thing where you could just, like, touch the screen, like if you're playing in, like, portable mode with the Switch. I hope they do at least give the option where you can use the Joy-Cons to aim the gun and that kind of stuff. Still remember that scene in the NES Accessories episode where when the dog laughs at the nerd tries to shoot the dog down. Yeah, so they start getting faster and faster, you can see here. And you only have 3 bullets for, like, each attempt. So it does reload after they move on to the next duck. But after 3 tries, if you miss the duck, it's going to fly away and the dog laughs at you. I wonder if this game was kind of used as, like, a sort of party game back in the day, in that it's a good kind of game where, like, you get people together and you play simple enough, that kind of stuff. Kind of like what Mario Kart is today, or maybe even Super Smash Brothers. Those kind of games where, basically anybody attending could pick up a controller and play. Or in this case, maybe NES Zapper. I think, speaking of the NES, 2023 marks the 40th anniversary of, not the NES, but the Famicom, which is essentially the Japanese system that the NES is based on. Yeah, so it's getting harder and harder. Yeah, I don't think I'll make it after this round, but we'll see. Yeah, so as it goes on and they get faster, you gotta be more precise. Kind of laughed when I was getting ready for this Twitch stream, it categorized this game as an FPS. I don't know, does this really count as an FPS? I mean, I guess if you really, like, want to get down to it, because you are playing a game in first person, shooting a gun, taking out enemies. It's just, this is not, like Call of Duty or Doom. Which, by the way, I'm really curious to see how Call of Duty games are going to play if they are coming to Switch, because I heard about how there was that agreement to bring Call of Duty games to Nintendo consoles for a period of 10 years. I'm kind of worried that they're just gonna make it like the cloud versions of Call of Duty. Which, I'm not against cloud gaming. I do like to play, like, PlayStation... Well, now they call it PlayStation Plus cloud games. It's just that it's not ideal, like, if there are times where, like, my, internet connection gets rocky. Like, this week, I actually had to go and, like, unplug my internet router and plug it back in. Wow, did surprisingly good that time. But yeah, I think the next news video I'll do is about how Nintendo is not going to be attending E3 2023. I had a suspicion that they weren't because there was an IGN report saying that all the big three console makers were going, and Nintendo is the first that isn't. I'm pretty sure Sony isn't because they haven't been going to E3 for the last few years anyway. So I guess now the big question is Microsoft going to put out a statement saying they're not going to go? So in a lot of ways, I think Microsoft is going to be the ESA's last hope. And I don't want to say that, E3 is dead, because as long as, the companies are still going, I'm still going to pay attention to the announcement. Even if all the big three doesn't go, if there are still publishers that I still really like that are going to the convention, then I'll still check it out. And they're oh my god, they're going so fast now. Going much faster than the Acura NSX. And yes, I really like cars, but good golly, Miss Molly. Help! I'm getting laughed at. Nope. No, I think this is it. This might as well just be like a stand-up comedy. I might as well be doing stand-up comedy. Oh, there we go. Wow, on the first try. There we go. Yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna make it. Yeah. So since I didn't have more hits than misses, that's why I lost the round. Okay. So I don't know. Should I try Game B? Let me know in the chat if you want me to try Game B after this. So like 2 ducks. Oh boy. But yeah, this is the kind of game I could see like playing on a work break lunch break at work. To be honest, like if I have some spare time, I could play this while I'm on a break. I used to actually do that with the bowling mode for Nintendo Switch Sports. See, dang, you gotta be precise because I'm pretty sure I got it the first time, and now it's doing it again. Jeez. Cool. But yeah, I do like when Nintendo, when they re-release games that aren't... I do like their major franchises too, don't get me wrong, like Mario, Super Smash Bros. And Kirby. But I feel like they have a lot of diamonds in the rough, if you will, in that, it may not be their most famous franchises, but some of their most creative ideas come out of, like, the franchises that aren't quite as well known. Like, I'm playing Duck Hunt here. I also really like Pikmin, and I've gone on and on about how I think Nintendo really needs to release a sequel to Excite Truck, which, by the way, I actually finally unlocked the Nebula course in Excite Truck. Got some childhood closure going there. Maybe I'll do that in a future stream. Next week, I've already got a game planned. Kirby's Return to Dreamland. because they just put out the remaster. Unfortunately, I can't play that today because my current Switch dock is broken. So I just received my new one, so I'm gonna try to see if that works. So, but yeah, I hope next week I can start playing Switch games again. I was actually having a Twitter conversation, or was it Twitter or somewhere? And I was talking to that person who suggested maybe that Nintendo should port Excite Truck to the Switch. And I'm hoping at least a port, if not an outright sequel. Like, one of the ideas I keep talking about is Nintendo should team up with Bandai Namco and make a game that brings together the urban environments of Ridge Racer, but all the crazy stunts of the Excite series, like Excite Bike, Excite Truck, and all that. Which, speaking of the Excite series, I actually recently just got Excite Bike 64 for my Nintendo 64. When that game does come out for Nintendo Switch Online, I hope I can do a stream of that. I really feel like the Excite series is Nintendo's most underrated. And usually the Excite games are like launch titles, like I think about like how Excite Bike was a launch title for the NES, or Excite Truck was a launch title for the Wii. I think if they go with the idea I suggested and Nintendo teams up with Bandai Namco and they make it like a fully fledged arcade racer, not just a launch title where there's deadlines they have to really worry about, then they could put together a really kick-ass racing game, I think, because yeah, the Excite series and Ridge Racer are two of my favorite racing titles. I really love, arcade-style racers where things get really crazy. And, the movement of the cars may not be the most realistic, but that's what makes it a lot of fun to play something like a Ridge Racer. I really want to try getting into, like, simulation racer games like Gran Turismo, but I don't know, every time I try, I can't really get into it as much. There we go. Perfect, cool. I'm really surprised how well I'm doing in this. I don't expect to make many rounds. There we go. There we go. I think the Duck Hunt Dog and Duck made it to one of the Super Smash Brothers games. I don't remember which one. Maybe somebody could let me know in the chat. I haven't tried those characters, though. Yeah, laugh at me all you want. Yeah, speaking of Wii games, I know that when I do TikTok Q&As, a lot of people like to bring up Wii Sports Resort. I wished I could do that too, but I don't have like a setup where I could really do things like bowling right now. I could probably play games like the wakeboarding or the airplane game, though. Yeah, laugh it up. still, like, hit 8 out of 10. Dang it. There we go. Yeah, maybe I'll try the mode with the 2 ducks after this. Wrap it up. Ow. There we go. Get you. There we go. Kind of worried about that one. Cool. All but one. Now they're starting to get fast. Is it going back to that again? At that point, when they get that fast, I just start to kind of rely on luck. Nope. This might be it. There we go. Nope. Man. There we go. Nope. Could I at least just make it? Nope. That's it. Comes laughing at me more time. Okay, let's try the second mode. Oh, it comes... Oh, okay. Comes right after the first one you take down. Yeah, you gotta be careful, though, because they still only give you, 3 bullets. Oh, you didn't laugh at me. So, how does this work? So, because he didn't laugh at me when I was only able to shoot down 1 duck. So, is it like, oh, as long as you get 1 of them, you're okay? Or what? Well, I guess we'll find out. Okay, now they're starting to come out at the same time. But they're gonna start getting faster and faster, right? Nope. Okay. But they're still counting it as a miss down below. I mean, I guess regardless of how you do, if you still get the game over screen, you're gonna get told, you know, that's it. There we go. There we go. we go. Huh, actually doing better in this round. Nope. So yeah, it's a bit harder. It's still kind of fun. Oh. There we go. Just have to start getting faster. Nope. I mean, I guess you have to miss both for the dog to laugh at you. Nope. Yeah, I could see myself getting used to playing the mode where you're supposed to shoot two of the ducks. There's a certain gaming or a YouTuber that covers his history of gaming. I wonder if he covered this. There's actually, yeah, quite a few of them out there. Maybe at least just to get to know, like, you know, who developed Duck Hunt and that kind of stuff. One of them. Wow, that one went away really fast. And I missed both, so I'm gonna get laughed at. Yeah, game over. But still cool to try out. What about... What's the... I've kind of seen bits of the clay shooting one. Is it literally just shoot down the clay bits like at the Olympics? It's that one. Yeah, so just making me kind of feel like I'm at the Olympics for a second, because I think in Olympic shooting, this is what you do, like shooting on the clay targets. They're going faster. I didn't realize I had another bullet to use. Unfortunately, I can't get that one. Nope. Dang, you gotta be really precise. What happens if you get the game over screen in the clay shooting section? I don't know what it is. There's a part of me that kind of finds it funny how it just stops. The sound effect just stops if you get both the clay targets. So yeah, you gotta be kind of tricky. But I guess the further away it goes, the more precise you have to be. Could have sworn I got it that time, but whatever. There we go, I got both that time. Nope, nope. Just pushing the B button, hoping in vain I can get it. Since they brought Duck Hunt to the Wii U, I kind of wonder, could they bring, like, Gyromite or Stack Up to the Switch, which I guess technically isn't possible because, you you know, you need Rob the Robot to play those games, or I guess in theory you could play at least Gyromite by yourself if you're willing to operate two NES controllers. But does Rob require one of those like older tube TVs to play? Somebody could let me know in the comments. And no, for the record, I don't have Rob the Robot. I imagine if I did, though, I'd probably just use him kind of like a statue. You know, he's just kind of standing around to symbolize the golden age of Nintendo when they first started achieving success in the US market, I suppose. Or I guess the YouTuber I'm thinking about would consider him more of a Trojan horse. Not the virus, but, you know, Greek mythology. Yeah, all this talk about, you know, Nintendo's history and YouTubers that cover the classics, those are really the, you know, things that really got me interested in video game history. It just kind of helps remind me just how much, you know, Nintendo has been through, you know, because by the time I was born, you know, Nintendo was already a very well-established name, you know, worldwide. But these games kind of remind me of like when they started to get international success. You know, I think about like how Nintendo's history, and I'm not kidding, it goes back to the late 19th century when they were making Hanafuda cards, and I guess nobody back then could have guessed that someday they would become famous worldwide for games like these. But still, you can get like kind of hints of where they were going to go, or like what would happen to them. Not that people back then would, you know, predict Nintendo was going to make video games, because those didn't exist in the late 19th century, of course. But, yeah, but, you know, it's still, you know, with good artwork and, you know, Hanafuda is a card game, it was their, like, you know, entryway into making, like, you know, interactive games. It's just that today it's with video games, not Hanafuda cards. Whoa, just got there by the skin of my teeth. Somebody on TikTok asked me today, what do I think is the most influential console in gaming history? I honestly can't name just one, because I think there are three that really made up the roots of the video game industry. The first one was the Magnavox Odyssey, because that was the first game console. And then the other one I think was the Atari 2600, because I think the Atari was really what made video games like popular in the home, and not just something that you went to an arcade and played. But because of the video game crash, that's what ruined Atari. And then what revitalized the gaming industry and made it what it is today was the arrival of the NES. And the NES's story is really fascinating. Like, its transformation from going from the Famicom to the NES is really like a, you know, story of challenge that I think anybody who's interested in video games, even if they don't like Nintendo, should at least know. I mean, if there's anything everybody in video games should know about, it's the history of the NES. Because, yeah, when the NES was on its way here, it didn't seem like there was a good chance. I mean, there was just so much working against Nintendo. You know, back then, Nintendo was not a very famous company. They still had a presence in the US, but they were not nearly as famous as they are today. And also, the video game crash basically made it seem like, oh, it seems like nobody wants to play video games anymore. That's just stuff people did in the 70s. But with the NES, it made games cool again. So that's why I say the three systems that made the video game industry what it is today are Magnavox Odyssey, Atari 2600, and the NES. I feel like I'm, you know, sometimes I add the original PlayStation as well. Actually, it's kind of debatable which system made games like kind of popular among the older demographic. I think some might say Sega Genesis, some will say original PlayStation. So it's a kind of a debatable answer, I think, because to me it's either one of those. Now let's do one duck again. I'll go back and play the mode with 2 ducks after this. But yeah, it's just kind of surprising how complicated, like, the question of, what is the very first video game? Because if you really want to be technical, neither the Odyssey, Atari 2600, or the NES were the first. Because I think a lot of people would say one of the first was something that came even before all those consoles, and that was Tennis for Two, which was it's sort of like Pong, I guess, but with radar equipment. And yeah, I just find a lot of joy in playing a lot of these games that seem simple on the surface, but are really really get you hooked. Games like Tetris, Pong, for instance. I'd even be willing to do a stream someday where I'm just playing Pong, to be honest. Because Pong was the game that really helped Atari find success. I think the way the story goes with Atari was one of the first games they made. When they were first founded, they were a company called Syzygy. Like, they had a very strange name. Even their I think it's the co-founder Nolan Bushnell says nobody could pronounce it. And so they made a game called Computer Space, but that was a failure because it was too complicated for the time. I'd have to play that today. I really want to try Computer Space at some point. I want to see, as somebody, that's playing games in 2023, is it the kind of game where back then it was too advanced, but today it's actually something that, that is something people could, pick up and try? I mean, I don't know, for myself, I'd have to find some way to play Computer Space. I mean, there's no way I can get one of those arcade cabinets that has Computer Space. But I have a real fascination with playing these kind of older games that, sort of tell the story of the early days of these companies. I was mentioning Atari with Computer Space, Nintendo. There are also some of their early games I really want to try, like Radar Scope, for instance, especially because I like to play spaceship shooters like Xevious and Galaga. And you could probably guess from my streams that my favorite kind of Bandai Namco games are their classic spaceship shooters or racing games. I do like their, speaking of shooters where you're flying some kind of jet through the sky. Even something like Ace Combat, I really like to play. Although admittedly I'm still trying to figure out how to do barrel rolls in the PS4 Ace Combat game. I did beat the one for 3DS though. I think it's Ace Combat Assault Horizon Legacy. Yeah. I mean, that's probably another genre of vehicle-related games I like to play aside from racing games, is the kind of games where you get into some kind of aircraft and, shoot down enemies. Man, missed that time. I mentioned sometimes I'm also really into cooking, so today I'm noticing I'm kind of having, if you watch PBS, a sort of Jacques Pepin sort of there. He's a, very French chef, does some really amazing work on PBS. So like today when I was making scrambled eggs, I was doing it in a sort of Pepin style. And also for lunch, I was thinking of making this treat he had when he was in Spain, where he took a piece of bread, rubbed garlic and tomato on it, and put a piece of ham on it. Maybe that's something I could have for lunch. And yeah, so I do like to watch a lot of cooking shows like Julia Child, Jacques Pepin, Ming Tsai, even Gordon Ramsay. Funny enough, my favorite kind of Gordon Ramsay videos, they're not his reality shows. I actually just like watching him, cooking, because I feel like that's him, when he's at, his most, calm and the place he likes to be the most, when, he can make amazing dishes without having to worry about all the stresses of being in a restaurant. And honestly, that's why I can't see myself working in a restaurant, because I'm always worried if I work in a restaurant, I'll be one of those people that's that forgot something and that kind of stuff. And I mean, I'm not even gonna try to guess what it would be like, if I had to work in the kind of restaurant that Ramsay or Pepin worked at in their younger days. I think I would just get brutalized. But cooking is a very surprising hobby for me. I remember I once cooked a French onion soup for my dad, and I was stunned. He loved it. I didn't expect him to like it so much. So yeah, that was really good. Dang it. Phew! Surprised on that one. Nope. Wow, 2 in a row. Jeez. There we go, cool. Yep, got it. I don't know, is it technically... I haven't played Gyromite or Stack Up, but I don't know, is there a way to make it playable on a Switch nowadays? Or would it require Nintendo to put in much more work than, they would want to? Yeah. I mean, I really, feel bad for those people, who post, I've seen people on Twitter post those, pictures that have all the Nintendo franchises that they haven't made games for years. I'd really like to see them make, a Excite Truck sequel, maybe a third Sin and Punishment someday. I have a kind of funny story about Sin and Punishment. I feel like if there were two genres of games my mom didn't want me playing when I was a little kid, they were shooters and racing games. Shooters, you can kind of guess why. Racing, it was because my mom was worried I would get headaches from the crazy music, and that was why she was resistant, but eventually let me get Excite Truck. I still remember one time she saw me playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and she was like, how are you not getting dizzy from, all the, twists and turns of the courses? And I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, Mario Kart's, it's not one of those games that, I get dizzy from playing. One game I did get pretty dizzy from playing the first time was actually Doom 2016. When I started to play FPS games, I actually used to get a little motion sick, which is kind of weird because I don't usually get motion sickness from rides or, car sickness and that kind of stuff. So I had to like turn down the speed of the camera in Doom 2016 and also Wolfenstein 2. Nowadays, I think when Doom Eternal came out, I didn't have to do that, so I think I got used to the camera movements. It's kind of funny, the whole thing about racing games. I guess she was also worried that it was gonna like turn me into like one of those like crazy sports car drivers that go at 100 miles per hour. Which is funny because my family often considers me a kind of overcautious driver, and now it's getting difficult. Like an overcautious driver. I mean, if I actually got a sports car like the Subaru BRZ, first of all, I'd probably end up with the automatic transmission model so that everybody in my family could drive it. But I'd probably be one of those people that would occasionally use the paddle shifters to like downshift and sort of learn how to use the manual transmission mode. Because the BRZ is one of those cars where on the automatic mode they have paddle shifters, or you can shift gears. It's not, you can't do it as freely as you can on like a stick shift car, from what I understand. Am I gonna make it even? Okay, so I got the duck that time. Wow, even better than the previous round. There we go. So, yeah, at this point in the Nintendo Switch's life cycle, I do hope that I really hope that Nintendo is working on their next system, because even though I really like the Switch, I think what really hurts a company is if they become overly dependent on their current success. So, I'm hoping that their next system, if they want to keep the Switch going, I think that their next console should sort of be a sort of like sequel to the Switch, kind of like what the Super Nintendo was to the original NES, or what the Game Boy Advance was to the original Game Boy. In that, yes, it's a new console, but it's building on the success of its predecessor. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make it. No. You have to get at least 6 to get to the next round. But still, that's really cool. Regardless of what the dog thinks. Okay, let's try the 2 ducks one again. Easy enough. There we go. Probably cool that I'm sitting down. Admittedly, my right arm is getting kind of tired of, holding the Wiimote. So the nice thing is, it's not like if I was standing up and, I have to hold the Wiimote. I could just sort of put, my elbow on, like, my lap like this. Because admittedly, I do have a carpal tunnel in my hands from, all those years of photography. There's actually one time I was photographing a friend's Folklorico dance recital, and both my hands, I mean, no, it's not the fault of my friend, it's just that, I was, making myself overwork, and my hands really started to hurt. There was actually a time she said, oh, do you just want to watch the show? But since I was such a driven photographer back then, I was like, yeah, I'm good. But honestly, yeah, looking back, I should have just, allowed myself to, like, spend a little time just watching the show instead of worrying, ooh, am I going to do a good job, and that kind of stuff. Okay. Speaking of obscure Nintendo franchises, do you think Nintendogs would come back someday? I still remember when my uncle was the one who first brought it up to me. I remember going to his house and playing video games with my cousins, and he was like, "Hey, have you heard about this game called Nintendogs? It's coming out in August of that year." And I missed that time. Nope, game over. But yeah, I'm sure with practice I could get much better at the Game B mode. There's about 10 minutes left. Let's do Game A again. Wow, that time I didn't get it at all. This is kind of a random thing to bring up, but lately it's been kind of raining a lot in SoCal, and I noticed it just stopped now, but I'm sure it's going to come back later. It's just, precipitation taking its break. Yeah, all but one. So yeah, in terms of other videos I'm working on this week, my next one is going to be, I think I mentioned this earlier in the stream, it's going to be on how Nintendo is not going to E3 this year. I'm also going to do ones, I have a couple tutorials that I want to work on, including something involving Game Boy games on Nintendo Switch Online, and one involving Wii games on the Wii U. So kind of, throwback tutorials. I'm just interested in seeing, if people want to check them out, because I know a lot of people like to watch my tutorials. Cool. So, yeah, those are probably going to be videos I work on going into next week. Nice. It's funny to think how throughout my life I've been through times where I had a hobby I was really interested in, and then I kind of took a break from it for a while, and then it came back and I became like twice as passionate about that hobby. Video games was definitely one of those, because I would say around middle school was when I was very on and off with video games, like essentially before the Nintendo DSi came out. I did play like my iPod Touch, but you know, I wasn't really into gaming at the time. It wasn't really until high school when gaming started to get cool again in my life, where it really started to just go from there. And now I feel like I'm going through a similar thing with cars because I used to collect toy cars when I was a very little kid, and then I took a break for like a really long time, like essentially between like I want to say third grade of middle school to now. It's just that now cars have become relevant again for me since I've started to drive on my own. Although in truth, I've been watching car videos even in high school. Like every once in a while, I would watch one of Brian Cooley's reviews on CNET on cars. Yeah, admittedly, yeah. As much fun as I'm having, admittedly, yeah, there isn't like too much to say about Duck Hunt. I really wish I could talk about the game like much more in the stream rather than just kind of like drifting off into different subjects. I mean, the game itself is good, nothing like super complex as far as I could tell, but it's still like very historically significant for Nintendo, I think, because really, I'd say Duck Hunt along with Super Mario Brothers was really what helped the NES get its start, or at least find success in America, because it was already, you know, very popular in Japan as a Famicom, and then it came to the US as the NES, or Nintendo Entertainment System. Come on, you. Man. Here we go. Okay. Now they're gonna start getting faster. Man. Yep, gotta be precise. Dang, that didn't count? There we go. Can I get this last one? There. Okay. Around 10. Yeah, I was, yeah, again, really surprised I could get this far. Wasn't expecting that when I first downloaded this game. Yeah, it's still kind of funny how, like, Twitch considers this game an FPS. You know, especially because I feel like these days people think of, like, GoldenEye or the original Doom when they think of what are the, like, games that made FPSs cool. That's even a word, FPSs. There we go. It just feels like you just gotta start, like, tapping the B button a lot. Okay. Yeah, because I notice when I get more erratic, I have a better chance of, like, taking them down on the harder difficulties. Yeah, like you see, I'm actually doing pretty good. Yeah, just gotta go really fast. Maybe that's the key. I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't know if this proves anything, but yeah. Yeah, like you can see that time I was getting erratic, but it still flew away. There we go. Kind of makes me feel like I'm playing Doom 2016 when I have to do that. But I'm guessing there's going to be a point where even doing that doesn't help. Like, right now. Nope. There we go. Okay. Because some might say that's not a good idea because then you're wasting your ammo. I feel like I'm quoting Volgin from Metal Gear Solid 3. You're wasting your ammo! Nope, completely missed it that time. Nope. Nope. Yeah, the sensor bar is starting to get kind of whack. Nope. It's kind of funny how in the NES accessories video, even when the dog comes up, the nerd doesn't, like, insult the dog or anything, but you can tell that, you know, he gets aggravated when he sees it. Okay, so yeah, that's it. And I think that's where I'm gonna end things for today. So thank you for stopping by. It's been a lot of fun playing Duck Hunt. Next week I will be playing the remaster of Kirby. Not Kirby in the Forgotten Land, it's Kirby's Return to Dreamland. So if you want to see that, please follow me on Twitch. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be back here Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 9 p.m. British Standard Time. So until next time, this has been Blood Moon Bobby, and thank you all for watching.